In 2012, LEGO Star Wars was thriving. We were seeing such a wide variety of sets that are still seen as some of the very best to this day. I remember fondly just how exciting it was to walk down the LEGO Star Wars aisle at that time. It was a time when LEGO Star Wars was in its golden age, making iconic sets that have only skyrocketed in value since. LEGO wasn't afraid to take risks back then, and we would see sets that we just don't really get anymore, for the sole reason being that they aren't as well known as something like Luke's Landspeeder. This was also the time before the sequel trilogy had released, meaning LEGO didn't have an obvious choice for new set ideas. The Clone Wars was in full swing back then, which meant they pulled a lot of set ideas from the show. This was great because the show took us in so many different places across the galaxy, with tons of new and interesting characters and vehicles which we had yet to ever seen before in LEGO form. LEGO in 2012 even released several Old Republic sets that tied in with the game, similar to the single Force Unleashed set that they made back in 2008 of the Rogue Shadow. These are all sets which we will likely never see again. So the focus of this video is a set that has long been one of my all-time favorites. The one and only Set 9515, The Malevolence. I mean, where to even begin with this thing? The Malevolence arc from the first season of the Clone Wars was always one of my favorite stories from the show, and seeing the ship itself be made into a playscale set truly blew my mind. In the show, we see the sheer destructive power of this behemoth of a ship, and eventually, how the Republic manages to destroy it. The episodes themselves took inspiration from the real-life story of the battleship Bismarck, which, as a history lover myself, I found to be really cool. The Malevolence had such a menacing design, which I personally believe LEGO captured perfectly, and proved that it doesn't have to be a UCS set to look good. This set is special to me in so many different ways, and as the title of this video states, it's the type of set that I don't see LEGO making ever again, or at the very least not for a very, very long time. And there's many different reasons why I say this. The first of which is that LEGO rarely ever makes playscale capital ships. We've seen the Venator, and plenty of honestly really good Star Destroyers, but all in all, that's about it. It seems with modern LEGO that they only really make midi-scale or UCS capital ships, none of which have an interior for figures or any interesting and unique features. So the Malevolence being a playscale set really makes it stand out that much more to me. It's also the fact that we just don't often see CIS vehicles in LEGO, let alone CIS capital ships, which is such a shame as I really love the unique and interesting design of their ships. Just looking at the design of the box brings me back to a time when it felt like LEGO put just a little extra effort into the details and excitement revolving around a single set. All the cool scenes and graphics give it this completeness that just exudes the theming of LEGO Star Wars. I love the old box art so much, which is honestly why I keep the boxes around, even though I probably shouldn't. But to me, it's yet another part of modern LEGO Star Wars that I feel has really been lacking as of recent, with this clean, minimalist look, especially seen with the instruction booklets. As I said previously, I feel the design of the Malevolence is absolutely menacing, and immediately gives off a sense that this ship will ruin your day. And again, LEGO nails this with their design, without it needing to be a $700 UCS set. Everything from the greeling to the lights around the ship makes it look so true to the show, which I appreciate so much. These are builds that I know the designers at LEGO are capable of making when given the opportunity to do so. And none of this build sacrifices any functionality. It has great stability and of course includes a very welcome carrying handle. But ultimately, my favorite feature of the set might just surprise you. One of the most memorable components of the Malevolence in the show was the massive railway system running all throughout the interior of the ship, showing just how massive it was in scale. The rapid rail transport system was prominently featured in the episode Destroy Malevolence, which was one of my personal favorite episodes from Season 1 of the Clone Wars. Now, you'd think that it would be nearly impossible for LEGO to incorporate the rapid rail transport in a play-scale ship, but in 2012, LEGO was more than willing to take on that challenge, and in my opinion, as simple as it is, it does a fantastic job, and is such a memorable inclusion to me. It just feels like nowadays, modern LEGO wouldn't even bother trying to incorporate such a feature. But I'm not at all saying that this is the fault of today's designers, as I truly believe that they'd be more than capable of incorporating such a feature into a modern LEGO Star Wars set. However, I believe it's the direction the company as a whole has gone in, with this playing it safe and not trying to go for the more ambitious designs such as the Malevolence. And of course LEGO made sure to include arguably the most iconic feature of the Malevolence itself, that of course being the fearsome, ship-disabling ion cannon. The way it was designed in the set has a gear system of these blue flick fire missiles to rotate manually while you hit the trigger here to fire off a shot. The distance you'll get out of it is relatively hit or miss, but ultimately I just appreciate the effort that went into making such an important feature something that's interactive, that you can mess around with. Moving on from the ion cannon, we have yet another integral part of the Malevolence that LEGO wasn't going to omit from the set, despite the challenges of including it. This of course being the bridge. For those that have watched the Malevolence arc of the Clone Wars, you would know that the bridge is actually located at the top of the rear spire of the ship, also known as the Wizard Tower. Now this would quite literally be impossible to actually include in its accurate location within the set, but the designers improvised. Until this point, when it came to capital ships, LEGO would include a very small room where the bridge is located in universe, typically big enough for only one or maybe two figures. But here, the designers opted to make a much bigger bridge, where you can place multiple figures and have better detail, by having it be in the body of the ship. And in my opinion, this was a great decision that they've continued to use since in sets like the 2014 Star Destroyer. The bridge in the LEGO Malevolence isn't the most detailed by today's standards, but it's able to fit all the Separatist figures that come with the set, still with some room for more. And one of the things I've hated most about shrinkflation in recent years is just the fact that you can't put as many figures in the sets. Last but not least, we have the figures that were included with the set. For a set that retailed at $120 at the time, I believe the section isn't bad, though it would have been nice to maybe get a few more figures for sure. As adjusted for inflation, it would retail for around $170 now. I suppose the Grievous tax was real even then, but all in all, it came with Padme, Anakin, a B-1 Commander, a standard B-1, General Grievous, and of course Count Dooku. All of them in their Clone Wars appearances, which some people are not big fans of because of the animated looking faces, but personally I like having unique figures like this, but to each their own. So there we have it. A set to me that proves LEGO has always been capable of making massive Star Wars capital ships that don't have to be UCS sets that cost a small fortune and take up half of your room. And I really don't want this to be confused as a knock at UCS sets, as I respect them for what they are, and those that enjoy collecting them. They're cool sets, don't get me wrong at all. But many others like myself miss when LEGO didn't make their large-scale ships exclusive to display pieces with no minifigure compatibility at all. And as I stated previously, modern LEGO much prefers to play it safe now, instead of going for more ambitious builds of vehicles and places that we've never gotten before in LEGO form. They go for what they know has sold well in the past, meaning less unique sets. I love LEGO, and I wouldn't make a video like this if I didn't care. I only want to see the brand succeed, but not at the cost of what made it so special to me to begin with. Therefore, I truly do hope we see sets like the Malevolence again one day, but as of now, I just don't see it happening. Star Wars is in a very odd place nowadays, with Disney seemingly not quite having a plan anymore, as if they ever had one at all, for where to take the franchise. And what they do will reflect on how LEGO goes about their future ways of Star Wars sets. And now with the rather disappointing release of Smart Play sets, I feel like the brand has shifted so far off course from what the fans truly loved about LEGO Star Wars to begin with, and that's just my opinion. But of course, I never want to be all doom and gloom, and I think things will improve. They have to eventually. Things have to get worse before they can get better. And so just keep making your voices heard, keep saying something, Eventually it will make a difference. But what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you think on the matter down in the comments below. Are you a fan of the direction LEGO Star Wars is headed? Or what sets do you love that LEGO will never make again? Please let me know. This has been Nightlighter, and if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, especially if you just leave a quick like and went ahead and subscribed. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.